Hi, and welcome to the episode 9 of the Alice Chen podcast. We're talking about 2014. Alice, thank you for joining us today for your own podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here, Bill.
Well, I appreciate it.
Of course.
So let's talk about 2014.
Yes. So it was a banner year for new jobs, from what I remember. Consumer confidence picked up a little bit. And then just kind of taking you back, mortgage rates were still really, really low. If you remember, it was like four in the fours, which is unheard of. I know.
Yeah, right?
That would be a steal of a rate now. And then distressed sales were declining. So the short sales, foreclosures, they were down actually almost a third year over year, which is good.
Yeah.
So inventory picked up. The year before, I think it was pretty low. And then it started picking back up. So more choices for buyers during that year. So it was my first full year as a working mom.
Oh, wow.
Because if you remember, my first baby, was born in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So 2014 was a year for me of trying to figure out that balance, or counterbalance, however you call it.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult because I had 100% natural birth.
Okay.
Yep. And then I nursed, breastfed. And so then I couldn't be there with her the whole day. So then when I was at work, I had to pump. So that was a whole adventure in and of itself because I had to take time every 3 hours, I would say, 3 to 4 hours to pump. And then to get the apparatus, as I call it, set up, everything set up, took about 5 minutes. And then the actual pumping, probably 20 minutes, and then another 5 minutes to kind of get everything. So it was at least half an hour out of the day every day.
Wow.
And there was no designated closet or room, right? So I had my managing broker install blinds in my private office. So, and then I made a little sign. It was really cute. It was like, please do not disturb.
Oh, my goodness.
Until,
wow.
you know how the stores have, don't come back until this time,
Right,
or we'll
right,
return.
right.
It was kind of like that,
Okay.
you know? And then people were always like, what is she doing in there? You know, because I guess, you know, the agents in my office, they were a little older. They probably didn't remember, you know.
Yeah. How quickly they forget.
How quickly you forget. Exactly. Yeah. So, and then it definitely put kind of a crimp into my workday for sure. Because if I was doing something, I had to kind of stop or find a stopping point and then pivot and then come back. It was just any disruption, you know, like that it's not helpful. Yeah.
Right.
So then I also cut back to 4 days at the office. So I was working all the time, obviously, before. And then I cut back to 4 days during the week. Weekends, of course, I worked still. But I had 1 day off where I was at home with Annabelle. And then I couldn't really find help at first, trustworthy help. The first nanny that we hired, she didn't know why she was crying all the time. And I said, well, you have to feed her and you have to change her. Like, you didn't feed her much today. And
yeah, the basic fundamentals of a newborn, right?
Yeah. And so I wasn't
If they're wet, if they're, they're hungry, they're in pain,
Exactly. So I was like, I'm not sure if did you lie on your resume? Like, have you watched a baby before? Right. And so it was just the balance of the work and the demands of the job, right? Because we all know that being a realtor is not, it's flexible, but you're the one who has to be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So then trying to still be flexible for clients while being a mom, you know, that was obviously the first time I had to go through that. So it was pretty tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all know that, you know, when it comes to clients and their money, they're less forgiving. So did you find that the clients were less forgiving with the flexibility, like the blocking out of times?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So kind of like when I was pregnant, you know, a lot of people were like, we just, you know, and some wouldn't say it outright, you know, like, well, you're pregnant, so we're not going to work with you. But some did actually, shockingly. They would be like, well, we don't know if you're going to come back. We don't know if you're serious. And I was like, well, then you don't really know who I am because I'm dead serious. I'm coming back. Yeah,
I'm coming back.
Coming back.
With vengeance.
Yes. And then it's kind of the same thing with the baby, you know. Some clients just didn't understand, or they just didn't have the bandwidth to understand or want to accept the fact that that was my phase in life at that point.
Right.
And then it does wrap back actually around to real estate, believe it or not. So when I finally found the right person, so I went through, I think two. I think I went through two. And then I was in the office, and on the bulletin, there was a bulletin board in the office, and it said, if there's a family looking for a trustworthy nanny, this lady is highly recommended. She worked with another family who worked with a realtor, another fellow realtor in my office, and she was looking for a new position. And so I thought, well, that's interesting, So I took the little number, how that has like a
the little
number.
Yeah, you tear them off.
You tear them off, yep. And so I took it and I called. And then later I interviewed her, went through the whole process, but then later I found out that she actually nannied for one of the agents on my team for her grandkids. And she hadn't joined my team yet at that time. Yeah. She did later. And then she also became a really good friend of mine. But sadly she passed in 2019. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sheesh. You've seen it all.
I've seen a lot. Yeah. I wouldn't say I've seen it all, but I've seen a lot. But that's ultimately how I found the nanny that worked out from the real estate bulletin board in the office.
And how long did you have that nanny?
For 5 years.
5 years?
Yes.
That's a good hire.
It's a very good run.
Wow. Yeah.
And the only reason we parted was actually because my mother-in-law retired and then came back. She was working overseas at the time. And then Annabelle was in school full time. So she didn't really need a full-time caretaker anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think you mentioned this too, but like I think you said the dark time that you had was like when you were in the delivery and then you had a client that literally said that I'm not going to use you. Yeah. And that's a huge story. Can you kind of go over that?
Yeah. So it was during the postpartum period. And I think you are just fresh. You and your wife are just fresh out of that, or still maybe in there. Yeah. And so postpartum for most women is the worst time because it is when statistically they can go into a depressed state. They basically, because it's right after the kind of the escalation of the positive emotions of giving birth, you have a brand new baby, and then during the postpartum period, which could be, anywhere from a day to several weeks or months. Yeah. That's when most women actually struggle, and it's not talked about a lot. And so that is when they're most vulnerable, women. And so it must have been on day 2 or 3. We had just gotten home from the hospital. And that's when the client decided to tell me that they weren't going to, not only were they not going to work with me, that basically they saw no value in me. Yeah.
What can we have a little bit of a filter here? Yeah. Like, gee,
I know, right?
Talk about kick you when you're at your most vulnerable spot.
Yes. And just not really having that EQ of like, maybe I should just say, hey, we're going to go this other direction or something softer. Not like, we don't see you don't provide anything for us. That's really, really harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you respond to that?
Not well. I mean, I was fine over the phone with them, but when I got off the phone, I was postpartum, so I literally probably cried for like 2 days straight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and my poor husband had to console me.
Well, I mean, see, that's the stuff that I think that people want to hear about somebody on the outside who looks, you look very polished. Let's just be honest, right? Everything looks perfect.
It's not.
And behind the scenes, you are a person that has feelings.
Person. Yeah, I'm a real person and I make mistakes and my life is definitely not perfect. Yeah. I try my best, but it's...
You did very good. Well, you do very, very good. Very well. Let's correct that. Wow, that's...
Yep.
Okay, so then moving forward, what else was 2014? So the rates were looking better.
Rates were looking better. I continued working with. I was still working with cancel expireds. So I think we had talked about kind of my program for cancel expireds in a prior episode. But I continued working that program, and with anything, I realized now looking back, the fundamental part wasn't even what I actually did. It was the consistency. So every day without fail, I would look up the cancel expireds. I would pick the 2 that I wanted to target, and then the consistency of doing what I did, completing a full market analysis, printing it, binding it, putting it in an envelope, having the cover letter ready with my business card, right? Overnighting it so they would get it the next day. And then the series of 6 postcards that I would send.
Okay.
And then I would put them in the accordion file on the dates that they need to go out. And then I would schedule a call too for myself.
Okay.
So they would get the market analysis that second day, and then I would schedule a call for myself the next day when they got, like 2 days later. So a day after they would have gotten the overnight package to say, hey, it's Alice Chin. Well, I was with Cole Banker at the time. It's Alice Chin with Cole Banker. Just wanted to make sure you received my package yesterday that I delivered to your house. It has a market update on your home and some information about why it may not have sold. Please give me a call if you're still interested in selling your home. It was a very easy voicemail. Mm-hmm. And so what I discovered was it wasn't even just the full program, but in the activity itself that I was literally so religiously committed to it. I did it every single day. I never missed a CMA. I never missed a postcard. So that's why it was successful. So then people did call me from that, or they called me back. Yep.
Well, I love how you like viewed it as grade yourself on your activity, not the production.
Yes.
Because I think so many people look at the big picture and they say, I need to make X amount. I need to like hit the volume of 20 or 30 million. Mm-hmm. And they don't do the daily exercise of being consistent with what their true tasks are to do that, you know?
Yeah.
So one of the things we've done recently is just have team meetings on a daily basis, which sounds crazy, right?
That's very intense.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're missing it today, but I have a more important meeting, right?
Oh, thank you. I feel very special.
Well, you should. But yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, what I've noticed, even with that, is it's created a more of a fluid system, like, because we're communicating more.
Yeah.
Like, we're still kind of remote out of the office. We're not all in the office.
Oh, yeah.
So to have that team call every morning and keep it really, really precise at 15 minutes has been a huge, huge change in a good way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and I think the same thing goes with when you do that with when you just say, look, I'm going to go back to the basics.
Whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah. Whatever it is that you set yourself mind up to do, as long as you're consistent with it. And then not only that, measure it. So at the end of it wasn't even year, at the end of every quarter, I would actually look at how many I sent out, how much money I spent on those, because those overnight packages weren't cheap, right? No. And then the postage on the postcards. And so those were the hard costs. Like, I couldn't really measure, I guess, the time that I spent making calls for canceled expired. So I didn't measure that. But I would get the fixed costs and the hard costs down and write them down and then see, okay, this is how much I spent, but then this is how much I got, to see like what the ROI actually was. Mm-hmm. And every single time, the ROI was always 6 to 7 times.
Wow.
A return. Yeah.
Well,
so then that's why I kept doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Then it was working.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Exactly.
Just keep doing it.
Exactly.
And just to fast forward.
Yep.
Do you still do that today?
No, I don't.
You don't.
No,
okay.
Because it's not because I don't want to do it. I would totally do it today, but a lot has changed, as you know, with the DNC.
Right.
And just a lot has changed. And so I just don't think, and plus the market has changed. It's a seller's market still. For the most part, it's not a buyer's market, which it was back then when I was doing it. So If it ever turned back into, and it will, whenever it turns back, not if, back to a more of a buyer's market or balanced market, I'd probably come up with a new version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd figure it out. But yep.
So going back to 2014, what was the timeline when it comes to buying, getting an offer accepted and the turnaround for a closing?
Oh, sure. It was still about the same. The turnaround for a closing was still about 30 to 45 days. There were a lease back, a rent back was unheard of.
Okay.
Never saw that.
Okay.
There was a lot of, during that time, there was much more home sell contingencies.
Okay.
Or home
Which
close
you don't see in this market today.
You don't really see today. And it was a lot more negotiation. Like I tell people, you really had to know what you were doing as an agent, because as a buyer agent especially, it took actually skills. It wasn't just like a submit, you put a listing on the market and then it just sells. There's like 10 offers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like that at all. So it took skill on both sides, actually. So on the list side, you put a listing onto the market, and then if you didn't price it correctly, let's start with that. If you didn't price it correctly, then that was really bad, because you would sit there and not have any showings and build a stigma and not have any showings or activity. Right. And then you actually had to market the house. You couldn't just, again, slap it on the market and say, okay, we're done now, right? You actually had to work, and then on the buy side, you pulled comparables, not that we don't today, but you pulled comparables, you analyzed them harder, you looked at everything, and then you crafted an offer, and then it wasn't list price. Okay. You crafted an offer, you kind of explained why, and then you negotiated back and forth. I know. Unheard of, right? Like, you negotiated back and forth. There was this like negotiation game almost. Yeah. And that's what the market was like back then. Very different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in today's market,
there's not much negotiation. It's like, highest and best by this time.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part, is that when you have rate movements, like I'm on the rate side, so I see a listing come up and the person gets an offer out. We're waiting 2 or 3 days, because a lot of people will put it on the market on Thursday, and then you have to wait till Sunday to actually lock the rate.
They're not going to look at all the offers until Monday or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't the case in 2014.
Definitely not. No.
So would you be able to get an offer accepted within the same night or same day?
Sometimes. I mean, most times it still took because you were negotiating. Sometimes it still took a couple days, but it was a very fluid negotiation. So
they were communicating. Everybody was communicating. They weren't ghosting.
No. And
everybody
at the bottom, at the end of it all, if you were pretty close in price, I mean, you pretty much knew that your buyer had the house, if that makes sense. So as a lender at that time, you wouldn't be like, well, I don't even know if I'm going to be doing this loan because there's like 50 other buyers for this. Right. It was totally different. Yeah.
Right. So no multiple offers. Did you ever have a multiple?
Rare. Okay. Very, very rare. It was almost never. Yeah. During 2014. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Very different times.
Very different times. Yeah. And then I continued getting more referrals, as I said last time. Lots of my high school classmates started working with me, college classmates, their parents, which is another level of trust, it was something new. And then my parents were finally my clients. That's
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about them later in a different episode, but it was interesting working with family. Yeah.
So your parents, I mean, how was that? Was that a good thing or a bad thing? Or
from my side, it was okay. I did the best that I could, but it was very sticky and emotional because I was selling my childhood home.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they had owned it for quite a long time, not because we had actually lived there for the whole time, but we lived there probably from 91 to 99, and then they rented it out for almost 14 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then so they ended up actually selling it to the last person who rented it.
Last tenant.
Yeah. And they just, in 2014, it wasn't a seller's market. It was a buyer's market, And so now looking back, they're probably thinking, well, why did we sell during that time? And Quite frankly, I wanted them to sell selfishly because I was tired of being a free property manager for them.
So you were managing the property? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was collecting the rent for them. Because they weren't physically here. They were in China. So
Okay.
I was watching the property. I was visiting it. I was doing all the things for them for free. And I just was tired of it. That was not what I signed up to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a listing.
This is a listing. Yeah.
And they moved back to China?
They moved back to China when I went off to college. So that was in 99. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they took my sister. I have a younger sister, and they moved over there. And my dad was an expat. He got an expat position there. Yeah.
Okay.
So my sister went to an international school in China.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Very different.
We're just peeling off
We're
all
peeling
the layers.
All the layers. Yeah. So basically, I was left here by myself during college. That was pretty rough because I didn't really have a place to go home to for 4 years. Yeah. So every break, every weekend, it was rough. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So anyways, I helped them sell that house. It was a yellow house. A yellow house. Yeah.
Is it in Naperville?
It was in Lyle. Naperville Schools. Yeah, I was in the Marine Trails. Right. And I knew every square inch of that house, obviously. So, yep. And we just sold it to the tenants, and I helped negotiate and facilitate, and yeah.
So when you're saying it's sticky, what was sticky about it? Just other than obviously them not being.
Yeah, it was just, I always tell this to people when working with family or very close friends, I would say. They kind of go in that pocket. It can get difficult because you know them so intimately, on a personal level, that it's hard to discern and separate the business side from the, and then also because they know you on a personal level, right? It's hard for them to only look at you as a professional. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it just kind of muddies the waters, right. I think. And then also because it's the parent, and then I'm the child, right, in this case. And in the Chinese culture, children are supposed to have something called filial piety, which is like always respecting their elders no matter what.
Okay.
And so then that dichotomy, it just doesn't pair really well in a professional relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, yeah. So it was just... Yeah. And I think because of the way the market was, I think maybe they thought they should have gotten more, and the process was not smooth because there was no agent on the other side. This is why I'm always a proponent of having an agent no matter what, because it just makes the whole process smoother and everything, right? There was no agent on the other side because it was just the tenant purchasing the property.
Yeah.
So then it was a bumpy ride because there were certain things I couldn't do. I can't be the dual agent. Obviously, that's illegal. I'm related to the owner, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so it just made things not 100% smooth. That's all.
Yeah. Wow, when you think about dealing with it, there's a lot of meat there because of the fact that you have a cultural, dynamic, right?
Yep.
And then you have the fact that it's family. I worked with my brother for 20 years.
Yeah. So you kind of know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We actually are better friends now than we were when we were working together.
Bet. Yeah.
I mean, we're 13 years difference. Like there's a difference, a year gap there, or a few years.
Yeah.
And so there is that kind of fatherly figure.
Are you the older one, or are you the one?
I'm the younger.
You're the
I'm the youngest.
I'm surprised.
Yes.
Okay. I would have pitched you as the older one.
Really?
Yeah.
See, brothers? Just kidding. Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate that. I'm the youngest one. So I came along a little late, but it's 13 years after both my brothers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, I totally understand that when you're working with family, it's just in friends.
It's like close friends, meaning like, yeah. So that's why I always caution, when people are like, well, I'm going to use my aunt, or I'm going to use my whatever niece, or, I always caution, and I always say, it might be best to not do that, because when things do get messy or stressful, that could impact the personal relationship, right? And I would hate to see that happen. And that's why I always say it's probably sometimes a better idea actually to just do a referral, right? Mm-hmm. And then they still get something, right?
Right.
But then you have a objective, completely third party that you don't know personally, professional taking care of the process.
And then also to make sure that referral is a good connection as well too.
Exactly.
Because I've seen that too, where I had a situation where when I came on to my last company, I wasn't licensed in California and Las Vegas, so I had to refer it out to a guy that I went to onboarding at our company.
Oh,
And it was a complete nightmare.
Oh, geez.
Like for a full year, the guy never closed a loan, and it was a referral from a real estate agent.
Oh no.
So and it got to the point where the client was completely just upset, and I go, "Oh my gosh, what do we do?" So we put him in the right hands, and close it in 30 days. But it was like one of those things where like you just got to be careful of who you hitch your wagon to, right?
100%. Yep.
So
Yep. So, and then what else? One of my admins that she is on the team or was on the team at the time. She purchased with me, which is always nice.
Yeah.
You know, that was a fun transaction. Yeah. And then I started building a pretty strong relationship with a builder, who we'll talk about a little bit later because it did not end up well.
Really?
Yeah. So, but that's in a future.
I'm excited.
episode. Yeah.
I'm excited. Well, I'm not excited to hear about the crash and burn, but we have some new construction products, and I want to make sure that I listen very, very,
Very intently.
very intently. Yeah. So
Yeah. And then let's see what else. Oh, this was also the year. So I had started working with a different builder, like what I call like a more tract home builder in the area on a new development.
Okay.
The year prior. And then this was the year that we really, because developments usually take several years, right, to kind of sell through and everything. And so this was my first full year of working with that builder developer and selling the units and working with the builder department at Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
And really just grinding it out because we weren't paid much on that builder relationship. It was something like, I don't even know, $300 a file. But it was a very good experience because I got to know all the floor plans. I got to know, and I still use that information to this day. Like when I list a home in that subdivision, actually.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Floor plans, like the features of the home, what the builder put into the homes. There's like 2 separate sections of the development of the subdivision. So I know kind of the distinguishing factors or features of each. Which I otherwise would not have known, you know. And then, I remember the models because I showed the models, and I was the agent representative for that builder
and
for
that,
several years. Yeah.
How you received that was through Coldwell Banker?
It was through Coldwell Banker, through their, I think it was called Builder Development. Yeah, Builder Department. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that's one of those. We have our top loan officer in the company. I think he's at 300 units year to date, and he was able to go from like a $20 to $25 million producer to $100 million producer just because
with that. Yeah,
that's a gold mine. So for a lot of people,
you know, it's not a lot per file or per transaction, you know, but it does give you that experience and then the kind of the overall volume. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then I hired a virtual social media assistant.
Really?
Yeah, which was, if you kind of take us back to that time period, social media didn't really exist all that much. Like there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok. So it was just Facebook, really, truly.
Okay.
Websites and Facebook.
Yeah.
And so she would create posts for me. She was the one who single-handedly got me from maybe, I don't know, 800 friends to 3,000 on Facebook. Yeah. So she was just, you know, kind of making networking notes and connecting me with people. And I could swear she was just adding people just to add people. I was like, who are these people? No.
Yeah.
But she did do a good job. She gave me visibility overall. Like when you look at it from like 100-foot view. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, you got ahead of it really quick then.
I did. Yeah. And she worked with me for a few years actually. And she would kind of tell me week by week, month by month, what she was doing. And it wasn't super, super expensive or anything like that. And I could tell it was working. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's see, the last thing was that story that I shared with you. So it was a lender that I was working with at the time. He had referred me a client. Okay. It was a buyer. And And I got to know her. I think she was actually like a nurse, like a registered nurse. Okay. And so then we were trying, she was a single mom. I was getting her pre-approved. And it was, they were having difficulties, I think, with her ratios, something to that effect. And so I was like, well, I need to know what we can look up to if she can get this house. She really likes this house. Okay. So then he's like, okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. I don't know if we're going to make it work because she has, how did he say it? Undocumentable income. Like it's cash income. And I said, okay, I don't know why I need to know that, but sure. And then it just kept going along and we weren't sure if she was going to get this house. And so finally I just said, can you just, what does she do? Like, does she do odd jobs or like, and he's like, no, I can't tell you. And I said, oh, okay. Oh, all right. It's not illegal, right? Like, and he's like, no, it's not illegal. And it turns out, I mean, she's a stripper. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Hence why she liked the house with a stripper pole in it, right?
Yes. No, it did not have a stripper pole.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I was kind of like, I don't understand why it was so secretive. Like, she's got to do what she's got to do to make ends meet. Like, I don't, And
yeah, right.
I was like, if you can't count it, you can't count it. Like, let's just keep it moving. Right. And that was it. Yeah. So.
Did she wind up getting the house?
She did.
Okay.
She did. Yeah.
They found a way to get it done.
They found a way. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, geez. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. It was very interesting as to like why he felt, I don't know. It just.
Did you ever ask him?
No.
Okay.
I just kind of let him be.
Just let it be. I don't know why you can't tell me what she does.
Yeah, it's like,
okay.
It's not illegal. Like, something
bad.
Like,
it's not like you had, yeah, that's very strange, but okay.
Yep. That was it.
All right. Well, on that note, I think 2014's a wrap.
That's it. Yeah.
And I appreciate you going through that because I think each year that we talk through, it's just you're seeing development of your life and then also just how real estate was impacted, has impacted your life, and then also building your family, and not to mention the technology, like you just mentioned, of Facebook,
it's totally different.
Yeah,
I know. 11 years ago. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's 2014. That sounds like it's a wrap.
It is. Yeah.
And I love the fact that we talked about all the development of your career. You had a newborn that year, and just the difference that the industry was taking at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And the pivots and the shifting of the market and the technology. It's pretty crazy. So, But with that being said, we'll see you on the next episode. 2015 is right around the corner.
See you then.